Hello everyone, it's me, Justine Daydream, and today I am going to review this book that I feel like we've all been waiting on for a long time, and that book is A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. Here's the cover, and it's really cute. That's Farah and some designs and thingy-mabobs. I got the book on the Kindle app and not in store because I'm a busy bitch, point blank. I got things to do. I ain't got time to go to the bookstore today, and I wanted to read this book when it came out last night. I had pre-ordered it way in advance last night. It downloaded to my phone like at 11:32, not even midnight. I was super happy about that. This book, A Court of Frost and Starlight, is not like central to the plot of the story. Like, nothing climactic happens in this book. Nothing too shocking happens in this book. There's really no plot twist in this book. If there has to be a battle scene for you to enjoy the book, then I guess skip the book. If you're the type of person who wants to see character development and you almost like long to know more about the characters because you want to have them in your mind as a fully developed and dynamic, well-rounded person, and not just this character who goes on these like missions and does this and dies and comes back to life, and you really like want to see the characters be themselves and get to know that character so you can like fully enjoy a story, then you will like this book. I am having a glass of wine as I review this book because it's like 9 o'clock and I just had a long day. So yeah, there's a lot of like arguments on Tumblr right now about this book. There's a lot of like PTSD triggering and drama and different stuff like that. In regards to this book, I feel like this book just maybe hit too close to home for some of y'all. Like, some of y'all just need to relax and it's just a story. I think Sarah J. Maas like wrote it maybe when she was pregnant because she's pregnant, and I feel like, I don't know, I just get this like whole sense of pregnancy throughout the book, and I didn't even know that she was pregnant until after I read the book and I like looked into it. It's so domestic, this book, and when I was pregnant, I was feeling damn domestic as well, so I'm right there with her. So yeah, let's get into this book, A Court of Frost and Starlight. Let's talk about the thing everyone wants me to talk about, the thing you're dying to talk about, Nesta fucking Archeron. Nesta fucking Archeron has gone in a new direction with her life. She's drinking, she's fucking, she's real slovenly, she's living in the ghetto. There's really not a ghetto in Valaris, but she made her own ghetto. Declared this ghetto land. And let's talk about why that is. There's a lot of people saying, oh, it's PTSD, it's depression, it's this, it's that. She's gone off the deep end because of everything that she's been through. And the main reason, beyond the PTSD, which I agree with, and beyond the depression, which I agree with, is not having free choice, not having any independence, not having the ability to make poor decisions because somebody else is making the decisions for her. We see Nesta kind of spiral in this story, and we see her make a lot of poor decisions, and there were times where I was like, girl, what is you doing? The more time that I've had to think on it, I've just recognized that in my youth, I made poor decisions and I did this and that and whatever because it was my youth and I was allowed to. When you're young, you have no children, it's just you. You've been through some shit. You've lost some people. It's okay to act real fucking stupid. Like, not every character in every book has to be Farah. In fact, Farah is special because she's Farah. Not everyone needs to be Farah. Nesta's Nesta. She behaves real crazy. She makes a lot of poor choices. She's hooking up with random dudes. She lost her virginity or whatever to some dude, which is not a big deal. It's not a big deal that she's hooking up with other dudes either. It is a big deal that she's like drinking. She's really just doing all these things to cope with everything that's happened to her because Nesta Archeron has been through some things. Her dad's dead. Her human life is over. Just when it was actually improving, it ended. She blames her sister, which if you go through life just blaming other people, you're just never gonna be happy. Because if you don't take responsibility for shit, you know, Nesta blames Farah in part, and Farah takes on that responsibility for, you know, being turned fae, but at the end of the day, would Farah have been hunting in the woods at 14 years old if her older sister had been on top of her shit? The answer to that is no. You think you're gonna find my little sister hunting in the woods? No. Nesta should really recognize that everybody can point fingers and everybody can play the blame game, but at the end of the day, the buck stops here, and she has to take responsibility for the shit that happened, because you can't spend your entire life blaming other people. It's just doesn't make you a well-rounded character in a story, and it makes you a shit person in life. Let's get one thing straight. Nesta has been a victim, but Nesta is not just a victim. And so she has to take responsibility for her own actions. And in this story, we get a whole lot of Nesta like fucking up. She really can't be with dude Cassian right now because she's just not in an emotional place to be with him. And I feel like that's fine, because you know what? Just because they're mates doesn't mean she's required to be with him. I think that women have free choice. I didn't like it when I was pregnant, and I felt like people were like, well, that's it. You're going to be with the guy who you're having a baby with forever. I was like, if he mistreats me, I'm leaving still. It don't matter if we have a baby together. And a lot of people didn't feel that way, and a lot of people were wrong, okay? Because if he ever mistreats me, I'm going to leave, and no one can tell me different. Mate or no. You know what I mean? It's about her having choices. The only thing that I feel like she did wrong by Cassian is like flaunting her messing around with other dudes. Like, you need to keep that private. You need to keep that on the low. At the end of the day, that only hurts Cassian, and he never did anything to you. Chill with that, homegirl. Speaking of Cassian's out here doing his best in life over there with the Illyrians, who are acting real shady and don't ever want to let girls fight for some reason, even though I feel like girls should fight. They don't want to let them. He's fighting for that. We find out he's fighting for that because of what happened to his mother. He's trying to give his mother some kind of legacy, which is really beautiful, like gorgeous, like crying, like this is some beautiful stuff that he's trying to do out here. It's sad when you find out that like his mom doesn't have a burial place, you know? Because everyone should have a burial place. Yeah. Cassian can't, like, visit his mom's grave. He's doing a lot for the Illyrians. There's a lot of tension there. He's really trying. He's really trying to give Nesta her space. She's acting like a shady bitch towards him, point blank. But he's still trying, and I got a lot of love for him for trying. I want to see their character development. I know in the next book, Nessian will happen, and I know that we're setting some groundwork here, and I understand that Nesta's just going through some things. And then we have Elain, our little flower girl. She's just out here baking and gardening and doing all kinds of stuff that she enjoys doing, which is all good and great. She's got this like crush on Azriel, which is not good and great because she's also mated to somebody else. I feel like nobody wants to be with their mate, but that's just me throwing that out there. Nobody wants to be with who they're supposed to be with, I guess. Whatever. Elain is rebuilding herself, and a big part of the reason why I think Elain isn't interested in Lucien is because Lucien hasn't even accepted himself or become himself. Whether or not he knows he's like not Baron's son, I don't know. But if he doesn't know, then he needs to find out, because he's not happy anywhere. He calls himself an exile, and he's in this like band of exiles with like Vassa and Jurian, and the reality of it is that he has no home yet because he's like some other High Lord's son. And so he can't be who he is to become and the person that Elain is supposed to fall in love with, because he just hasn't had that character development. He hasn't had that growth yet. He's still not ready to be mated. He's just not there. And so Elain isn't in love with him because he's not who he's supposed to be. Like, that's my opinion. Sips wine. And then I think Elain and Nesta's relationship is really messy because we have to remember, like, Elain is not a fighter. She's never been a fighter. She's always just kind of gone along with what Nesta says usually. She's recently shown backbone, but that's all new. That's all new. And so she doesn't know how to fight for Nesta. And Nesta really needs Elain to fight for her. People are like, why isn't Feyre fighting for Nesta? And Feyre and Nesta just don't have that relationship. It's Elain who needs to fight for Nesta because her and Nesta do have that relationship. And like, that's her partner in crime. That's her ride or die. Like, at the end of the day, Elain has to learn to fight for Nesta for once. Real shit. Y'all are putting the blame on Feyre. Feyre and Nesta have never had that relationship. Nesta has never allowed her in, and now that's going to change because she has PTSD and depression. That's not going to change overnight, and especially during this time. So yeah, more about the Feyre thing and Nesta thing. Feyre is all about free choice as well, and Feyre is giving Nesta all this free choice so far along in the book. At the end, Feyre decides, you know what, I'm going to take away your free choice because you're not making the right decision. And that's kind of what Rhys did for Feyre. So at the end of the day, Feyre's only example of how to fix someone is Rhys, and she's clearly using his guidelines that he had for her in Court of Mist of Fury, where he gave her time to like work her shit out until it got too bad. Then he had to step in and do something about it, even if it meant that it was against her will. So, you know, they had to like have an intervention. I think that's like a scene in the next book. There was like an excerpt at the end of this book about the next book, and I felt like I just really want to read the next book. I felt like everything that was in this book could have been in the next book. That's my personal opinion on it. Comment down below if you agree or disagree. So more ain't shit going on with more in this book. She has a house, she has some horses, she's dealing with Eris and Kiera. To be honest with you, there's just more going on with Eris than meets the eye. I've said that before. It flashes back in the story to the moment where Eris kind of like refuses to take responsibility for more, and in that moment before he refuses, he asks her, you know, so you don't want to be here then? And she says no. So he's like, all right, leave her, let her people come get her. And everyone's like, we can't just leave her. But at the end of the day, Eris comes off like a dick, but what was he giving more? Free choice, which is like a huge theme in all of Sarah J. Maas's books, free choice. So, is Eris really a bad guy? I don't think so. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But my fan theory is on Eris not being that bad of a guy and having like plots and ideas of his own. Asriel, he's just all in love with Moore. She's just not paying attention with him. He's kind of interested in homegirl, Elain. She is kind of paying attention to him, but I don't think he's that interested in her. They might just be friends. I don't know. Can't really read him because he's like a shadow singer, so who knows what he's thinking. Amren, whole book, she's just busy with her boo variant. So Amren is just like in a love haze right now. She's in the honeymoon stage of her life. She's adapting to being more high fae and less angel. Rhys is angry at Tamlin. He's kind of punishing him a little bit. At the end of it, he does kind of help him a little bit by like forcing him to eat. Tamlin's all falling apart and shit, which makes sense. The thing about Tamlin though is, where is Briar Rose? That is obviously meant to be his mate. You cannot be the High Lord of the Spring Court and not be mated to Briar Rose. So she's over there in the Winter Court? Yeah, I was expecting to see her at some point in this story, but I guess this book just really isn't central to the plot. So you really don't see anything in this book that you were hoping for. It wasn't a disappointment, it wasn't a letdown, and I will read it again, but it wasn't what I thought I was getting. I'm not mad. In A Court of Frost and Starlight, I didn't get what I wanted. I got what I needed. That's what I'll say about this book. Waiting on Briar Rose to become Tamlin's boo. We'll be waiting a lot for that, but you cannot tell me that that's not his mate. Her name is Briar Rose. Don't try to play me. So Feyre, at the end of the book, which is centered around like Christmas, winter solstice, and it's her birthday too, like decides that she wants to have a baby with Rhys. They do some wall sex. It's intense. She has some growth. She makes some friends. She does some art. She gets a new fancy house, which is big, which makes sense because she didn't have a big fancy house that was accessible to other people. Rhys gets her that. She gets an art studio for free, even though she has a lot of money to buy an art studio. So, but she uses it for good. She doesn't charge. That's pretty good. Feyre just doesn't owe anyone shit. Everybody's like, why isn't Feyre fixing you? Why isn't Feyre fixing you? Fix it your fucking self. God, y'all get on my nerves. Not you, but like people on Tumblr. You know. That's it. This book was short. Like not much happened. Like if I told you what happened, I would literally just give away the entire book. Like it was short. Like it was good. It was short. It was good, but it was short. I'm excited for the next one. I really like. How long do I have to wait for the next one? Like another year? Like. You know? Ugh. I would have rather gotten the plot book with the character arc and everything going on than got this extra book because this book wasn't necessary or central. However, I did learn a lot about the characters. I would have liked if this book had maybe come out a couple of months in advance of the next one. That's just me. Like, I felt like this book could have come out 6 months ago as a halfway point book, and then we still could have got the actual plot book in May. So now we have to wait till October 23rd to read Kingdom of Ash, which my husband is calling Kingdom of Ass because he has no respect for me, and my love of literature. Just kidding. Smut. Yeah, that has been this discussion post, this review. I feel like this is gonna be one of those things where people like don't like it that much and disagree a lot, so just go ahead and comment down below about it, and maybe you will change my mind. Maybe I'll see it from your perspective. All right, I'm Justine Daydream. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna finish off this wine.